Welcome to the show. I'm Jason Whitlock, and I'll tell you why this still might be Tom Brady's last season.
And I'm Colin Cowherd, and I'll tell you why the latest Cavs drama is actually a great thing for the Cavs. Speak for yourself starts now. I've never been happier. I think they're just about to turn the corner.
The stadium burns down. Colin will spin it into a positive. Hello and welcome. We're joined today by Fox NFL analyst Tony Gonzalez and Greg Jennings. Let's start in Foxborough, where Tom Brady is getting ready for yet another Super Bowl, but might find himself dealing with some extra questions about his future after his good friend, former kicker Jay Feely, claimed in a Sports Illustrated piece that Giselle, Brady's wife, asked him to convince Tom to retire this past offseason. Obviously, that didn't happen, but Cowherd, it's interesting for this to be coming out now. Do you think the Super Bowl could be Brady's last game?
No. Is she going to quit modeling? Because I just read some stuff about modeling. It's very dangerous. There's a lot of unscrupulous people out there. You know, why would you retire? Like, I'm so over.
It's dangerous.
Oh, it's dangerous.
And he's old.
He's 40. You're old. I'm old. He's not old.
For that game.
You know what? The 40's the new 34. Drew Brees may be 38. He doesn't look and play and act and talk like 38. He's a young man. I don't buy this. He's not trying to talk her out of modeling. By the way, modeling is extensive travel. There's unscrupulous characters. It's a lot of work. It's highly judgmental.
Calls her own shots.
Oh, and
in terms of modeling.
And he can't?
No, because there's a 16-game regular season. There's the playoffs. There's training camp. There's OTAs. There's all these demands.
Show me the evidence how dangerous it is for him. Been sacked 400 times. I've watched every Patriot snap in the last 12 years.
Who do you think knows better, you or Giselle?
Tom knows better than everybody, and he wants to play.
He wants to play, but sometimes Mama knows best.
You know what? Mama today texted me and said, I need a haircut. And I'm like, no, I like my hair right now. Mama not always right. That doesn't mean Now, sometimes we have to sacrifice.
Yes.
But I know when I need a haircut, and Tom knows when it's time to retire.
No, because look, man, boys want to be boys forever. And then somebody's got to tap you on the shoulder and say, it's time to grow up and quit playing little boys' games. You've made enough money. You've won enough Super Bowls. Again, look, Tom Brady, I'm tired of second-guessing him as it relates to father time. I am not, however, because I've been on this topic from beginning of the season. Giselle Bundchen, his wife, wants him to retire, and eventually she's going to win out. Could it be this season? You get a 6th Super Bowl. Why not go out on top?
He's the MVP. That's why. It'd be one thing if he had Blake Bortles' completion percentage. Why would you leave now? You put in your whole life to this. We forget with these pro athletes. He's 40. He's a 40-year-old man. He's a young man.
To do.
Oh, to do what? Sailing? Crab fishing out in the harbor? What's
golf,
he gonna do?
Kids.
Oh, golf. That's what old people do. Old people golf. I think he should play as long as he can play.
What do you think there, Greg? You want to go or
No, this is not his last game.
You don't think so, huh?
No, I don't think so. I know it's not because he just told us Tom versus time. He's telling us that I'm not going to stop until I tell myself or I believe that it's time for me to stop. And even in the article, when you look at what Jay Feely said, he said, you know, for years he had to prove he belonged. And then after he won the 3 Super Bowls, he still would find ways to motivate himself. He's continuing to find ways to motivate himself. And I think after they win, if they win this Super Bowl, it'll be his 6th. He will continue to want to build on that, and he will find ways. And I think the number one way is the fact that his owner, Robert Kraft, decided to send off their future franchise guy who they thought would take over after him somewhere else, and he put his money on Tom. He doesn't want him to be wrong. He wants to prove him right. And everybody who thinks that he's a 40 and he's going to wash up next year, he wants to prove us wrong. Another way to motivate himself.
You know, first of all, if Jay Feely, that's going to be an uncomfortable call from Jay Feely to Tom Brady this week, because I know Tom Brady doesn't want any of that stuff out there. That's kind of a crossing the line.
He's not going to get invited on a vacation again.
Probably not wherever. They wouldn't admit where the vacation was, but he said this is what Giselle said to him. So, but is this going to be his last game? No, I think just because what you said too, he's not going to come out with that father versus Tom, whatever, the time versus Tom, and then not come back next year and prove to everybody that he still got it. But I'm with you. If that was me, I would have retired last year. So I get where Giselle is coming from because there's got to be other things out there than you have already solidified. If you get another Super Bowl, another MVP, that doesn't affect your legacy one bit. The only thing he's playing because he wants to, and I got to believe that because right now there's no legacy implications on the line at this point.
By the way, Tom could have married a lot of models, but he went after an aspirational model. She could have married a lot of quarterbacks. She married the most aspirational one. They are attracted to each other because they're not just a quarterback and a model. She's the world's biggest supermodel. He's the world's greatest quarterback. Part of the attraction is this is a lifestyle. This is who Tom is. Tom is, there are no days off. I don't drink beer.
Based on?
Huh?
What's happiness based on?
Each person's different.
Expectations.
Yeah.
Expectations. So she went into this marriage, I'm telling you, by the time he's 40, he's going to be at home with me and the kids.
Yeah.
That's why she continues to push. Again, Jay Feely's close to him. Giselle wants him to retire. You're not going to convince me that she said, oh, I love him more because he's the quarterback of the Patriots. She loves the dude whether he's the quarterback of the Patriots or not. She's seen enough of the football thing, and she'd like for the guy to come home healthy and sound, and let's move on to the other aspect of our life. And again, Tom has every right to say, nope, I want to play some more. She has every right to continue to push and push and push, and I think she's going to, and eventually she's going to win. If not this year, next year.
I think next year will be his last game.
No,
last season.
She does, and I think every wife at some point when your husband or your spouse has played a long career, successful career, and had success, you want them to come home. You want them to tell you when they're thinking of calling it quits. But when you look at his situation, he's found a way to make it worthwhile for everybody. She's involved in the Time versus Tom documentary. They're training together. He's present at home. He's found a way to make it work.
Doesn't that sound like a great setup, though, to walk away? You've put out the documentary. You've explained yourself. You've let people in behind the curtain. That's the perfect time to walk away.
Winning for Tom Brady is like crack. He's sniffing every line that he could possibly get. Until he can't get it anymore, then he'll probably give it up.
Why would you leave at the top of anything?
Jim Brown did it.
Again,
Barry Sanders did it.
And Jim Brown didn't move into a TB12 clinic, nutritional program, and $100 million to net worth and branding. And it's a different time.
I can say this, Colin.
He was also a running back who got hit 30 times a game.
I didn't have this. I'm not talking the team success, but I still have good success. My 17th year, went to the Pro Bowl, had 83 catches to eight touches. Still could play at a high level. And I knew I could come back and play, but I didn't want to because I couldn't take the risk of, okay, it's got to run out sooner or later. Like something's going to happen. Either I'm not going to play well or I'm going to get hurt. That's what's going to happen eventually.
But
if you
were
play
a tight end. You blocked. You also
it's a different
position. And when you played, you were about 25 pounds heavier than now. Mm-hmm. If you look at a picture of Tony and Tony now, your body changed. Tom's not going to get heavy. Tom's not getting hit much.
It only takes one.
And he's not.
It took Ryan Shazier one play, and his life changed.
He's a linebacker.
Tom Savage. Did you see him rolling around on the field? Couldn't control. That's what football is. I love the game, but again, at any time it can change. If that was
the issue, you wouldn't play. You don't think about Tom Savage when you're dropping back.
I think what we're missing is he's said it publicly. I'm willing to put my life on the line. I'm willing to take this risk. He knows the risk. But he, for whatever reason, and kudos to him because I'm with you, Tony. I folded a long time ago. I checked out. He understands I can do this. I can do it at a high level, and as long as I continue to manipulate my mind mentally to where I can start from square one all over again and be a student all over again in OTAs, I can continue to have success.
Oh, it depends on what Giselle, how influential she can be. We all are married up here. We know how that goes. Oh, shut it, be quiet. Okay, I'll
quit. Wives run the world eventually. Seriously. She's got the most power. She's got more power than Tom Brady. And I'm saying that in all seriousness.
Eventually. And right now,
yes.
She does make the most money out of them.
Makes the most money, and she's got all the Giselle. Yeah. She is, and I don't blame her. I mean, the guy, this is going to get his sixth Super Bowl probably here.
You guys sound like fans of other teams. Yeah, let's get that Brady guy out of here. I am tired of Tom. He is way better off golfing. You guys sound like Jaguar fans.
I'm on both sides of it. You know, I'd love to see. What if he comes back, win 7, win 8, win 9 if he can?
10,
but
12.
I know for me, that's not happening. I'm done.
Don't you want to see if you're the wife? Don't you want to see your man happy? Makes him happy.
Look, as a fan, Tom Brady can play till he's 60.
Seems happy to me.
We're discussing whether or not this could potentially be his last year. I think it could. They put out the documentary. That's one thing. He gets a 6th Super Bowl. I'm like, Tony, 7 isn't going to change the conversation.
Yeah, but 3 to 4 isn't either. Who cares, right? Like 4 to 5, 5 to 6.
No, 5, I think 5 changed the conversation.
Yes.
It definitely did.
And number 6 really changes it. Because you know what's happened with the number 6 is now it's not about Joe Montana. Now it's about Tom Brady versus Michael Jordan.
I see.
And he has, to me, he's put together a better argument. And again, this 6th Super Bowl, he's put together a better argument than
more
Jordan.
motivation right there.
Welcome back. Tony Gonzalez, Greg Jennings. Let's move to Philadelphia, where Nick Foles has surprised everybody this postseason, except apparently Doug Peterson and the owner of the Eagles, Jeffrey Lurie, who, of course, say they've always believed in their quarterback. They backed that belief with a multi-year contract before the season began, which means Foles is expected to return to backup duty for Carson Wentz next year. Whitlock, after this incredible run, should Foles want out of Philly and have his own team?
Well, look, I think if he goes on and completes this deal, or even regardless, as long as he doesn't blow up in the Super Bowl, he's going to have some trade value. And so, the Eagles, he could potentially force the Eagles to trade him and get his own team. But the thing we have to be careful here, because if I were him, I would want out and want my own team. But his personality may not fit that. You give him a team and a big contract, we've seen him kind of melt under that scenario. He may be better off as a backup quarterback. Again, that would cost him a lot of money. Again, if I want him to the Super Bowl and even take him to the Super Bowl, I want to bump and pay to stay in Philadelphia. But I'm not sure if he's built to be a franchise starting quarterback.
No kid, when he plays quarterback, about 8, 9 years old, they give you the ball at recess. None of those kids think, what I really want to be is a backup on a good team. Like, if you're good enough to get a Division I scholarship as an athlete, you see yourself as a starter, especially at quarterback. You can have 4 receivers on a team. And you can argue who's better, Nelson Aguilar, this guy. No. There's a starting quarterback, then everybody else is a clipboard guy. You can be very happy as a second receiver in the NFL. I can't even tell what the Patriots' first, second, and third is. Quarterback, starter, backup. I'm out of there. There's 8 teams in the league this morning that need a quarterback. I got news for you. He's better than at least a couple. He's not
starter on a bad team.
You know what? It's your team.
Backup
it's your
on
billboard.
a great team.
I wouldn't want quarterbacks. There's some ego in this stuff. You got to be
not for all of them.
There's ego, but should he want out? He should. But if I'm him, no. You stay right there.
What?
Yes, you stay right there. Some guys are just not built to do it by themselves. He's been a starter before. He started 39 games in this league.
Winning record?
He's 22-17, but he hasn't been proven to be durable, number one. He hasn't played a full season in his entire 6-year career. What does that say? He's getting x-rays for his ribs right now. So when you look at the scope of everything that he's done, is he a good quarterback? Absolutely. Could he go start somewhere else? Yes. But I feel like he's grateful for being where he is.
Grateful.
He was almost out of the league, contemplating retirement. His career got revived because of the situation in the system that he's in. You go somewhere else, you may get another Jeff Fisher situation where it's not a great fit, not a great offensive coordinator, no guys around you to help you grow. I'm just saying.
That feels like playing it safe. Did you play it safe to get to the NFL? You weren't a play it safe guy.
I understand that. I'm not. But when I look at Nick Foles, he doesn't jump off the screen and say, oh, yes, give me my own team. No, he doesn't.
Let's look at the press conference. Does he look like a jump through the – what you're saying is, listen, Be happy in life.
No,
He might be.
You know what? You'd make a horrible motivational speaker. Tony Robbins and you got nothing in common. You can't say that. Come on, Greg. You got to swing for the fences. Go for it. I would tell him right now, look, this is what now we see what you can do when you put your mind to it.
And get right coaches.
And you get the right coaches. If you can go to the right system, I'd rather fail going after what I want than be successful at what I don't want to do.
I hear you totally, but what I'm saying is, all these ducks have to align themselves. He has to be in the right system.
But what if?
The right.
But what it could happen?
What if he's not?
I don't care.
What if it doesn't?
I'm going
and,
out.
then, and then he gets
You got one
$15
life to
million
live.
bucks and he chased his dream.
Well, who's the guy that went to Matt Flynn? That went
Exactly.
to Seattle or whatever, and then got laughed out of the league, basically.
Who's
got
Rich,
his big
who's Rich
paycheck.
Gannon? Who's Rich Gannon? When I was there, Elvis Gerbeck, he said, I'm out of here.
Brad
listen,
Johnson.
Listen, if that's your mentality, great. I'm just not sure he has that mentality. And as Greg talks about, 6 seasons, can't get through any of them healthy.
By the way,
you can go to a team that doesn't have a Peterson and a Frank Wright, doesn't have an offensive line, and get beat up. You're collecting a nice check, but you're getting the ridicule and you're getting beat up.
He won't play.
His head coach, Doug Peterson, using your belief, Doug Peterson still be calling plays in Kansas City. He went for it. And people said,
You know what
Peterson.
Doug Peterson was? He was a backup quarterback.
And
in
what
the
Doug
NFL.
Peterson was at Kansas City is he didn't even call the plays.
He wanted to be the guy.
Neither did
Does
Joe
Nick
Philbin,
Foles?
but He got a gig down in Miami.
If you were an Olympic coach, you know what his motto would be? Go for the bronze.
Yeah,
No.
there it is. There it is.
No, not at all. I said he should, but personally, after watching his career unfold, I'm saying what's best for Nick Foles, man, you stay right behind Carson Wentz, and if he goes down, you step in and you do.
That's an awful life.
Oh,
Hey,
yeah, I
instead
know.
of competing,
It was
you know,
awful. Winning that NFC championship, that was awful.
He played
Playing
in
in the
it.
Super Bowl, that was awful. Again, Carson Wentz is early in his career. Stick it out. You might end
okay,
up being
let's
the
pretend
guy.
I'm Nick. I kind of look like Foles. I'm gangly. So I'm Foles and you're my agent.
Yeah.
Call me.
Oh, if I'm the agent,
Yeah,
I'm about
agent.
the money. Show me the money. I'm the agent.
Okay, so
Right.
there you go.
But Nick Foles might not be on that other line saying, show me the money. He might show me the security. If I can sit here in Philadelphia, get a better contract, and be the toast of Philly for taking them to their first Super Bowl.
Who wants to watch football when you can play it?
By the way, you look like Mel Kiper.
Be quiet. All right, welcome back. Joined now by Fox NBA analyst Chris Broussard, founder of The Big Lead, Jason McIntyre. Let's move to Cleveland. We do every week, every show, where the Cavs circus keeps on rolling after a streak of lousy play. Rumors about a coaching change, LeBron being LeBron. The Cavs reportedly held a very heated team meeting Monday where several players took aim at Kevin Love, questioning the legitimacy of the illness that caused him to leave Saturday's loss to Oklahoma City. Today, Love was asked if he felt like a target at the meeting.
I feel like a target. I mean, I think most people were a target. You know, we're trying to figure this thing out. People hold themselves at a very high standard on this team, and, you know, we're a team that feels like we can compete at the highest level. For me, the thing I've always done is, you know, kept my mouth shut, continue to work hard and try to be best for the Cavs.
You need to hear from Kevin about why he was practicing Sunday and then Saturday as well.
I don't want to talk about it.
Can clearing the air like you supposedly have?
I don't want to talk about it.
Well, I
don't want to talk about it.
Thanks, everybody.
I don't want to talk about it.
All right, Whitlock, will this meeting help or hurt the Cavs?
Probably hurt. The only thing that's going to fix the Cavs is Paul George or Lou Williams or some big trade acquisition. But this will probably hurt because I think that my takeaway is, again, LeBron doesn't want to look in the mirror. Worst plus minus. He's got the worst plus minus, I think, on the team. They're better with him off the court than they are with him on the court. This team, I think Brian Windhorst pointed this out today on ESPN. They welcomed Derrick Rose back with open arms. He left the team with an injury and just walked away. And then when there was thoughts of him coming back, oh, great, welcome you back. This guy, Kevin Love, misses with an illness, and let's put him on the cross and crucify him. The hypocrisy here, I just don't think works. So I don't know if this team meeting was productive.
We have multiple tire fires in the NBA. The Wizards held a team meeting. It reportedly went poor. Kawhi Leonard is struggling with that organization. The Lakers and Luke Walton has been a simmering pot. Now we have this. The one thing I like about this, Kevin Love talked, answered the question. They've done this repeatedly in January before the trading deadline. These are a bunch of adult grown-ups. Like, to me, conflict resolution begins with the word conflict. They held a heated meeting Monday. Well, that heated meeting, if you read the stories on this, it was like everybody talked, and Kevin Love was asked pointed questions. I like it. Washington held a team meeting. Half the guys didn't get a say, and according to the Washington Post, it's worse today than it was before the meeting. I love what Kevin Love did there. You know, guys ask me questions. I try to be a good pro. Like, I feel like they're coming out of this thing.
Well, and what Love said was that everybody was a target. If that's to be believed, there were reports that everybody did kind of get called out. It'd be interesting to see if LeBron got called out as well. If that's the case and this was just one of 7 guys that they kind of questioned, that's one thing. I'm with you. I think they'll get through this eventually, but I don't look, Kevin Love has been with you for 3.5 years. I think it may depend on what players questioned him. If it's LeBron, D. Wade, leaders who are leaders of the team, guys who've played with you for a long time, if they're questioning your heart, that's different than if it's Iman Shumpert and Tristan Thompson or something like that. So it may depend on who's questioning him, but I don't think it's fair. I mean, it would have helped if he was there. I mean, you may have given up 168 points if Love was on the floor. Like, all the issues you have, and you picking on Kevin Love.
There you go.
So I don't know. Like I said, was it a balanced meeting or was it all about Kevin Love? I think that's the
You
key.
nailed it. I mean, Kevin Love is at fault. That's the problem, guys. I mean, seriously, this is a joke. Kevin Love should have pointed the finger right back at LeBron and said, hey, LeBron, I saw Damian Lillard went to his owner in Portland and said, what's the direction of the team? And Giannis was willing to save his coach, talk to the owner.
You really think Kevin Love was going to do
If I'm
that?
Kevin Love, I said, why are you pointing a finger at me? Isaiah Thomas hasn't played a lick of defense. LeBron, why don't you go ask the owner why we traded Kyrie Irving? LeBron, why don't you go talk to the owner and see what we can get in here? I didn't mess this team up. Kevin Love is not at fault in the least.
Let me tell you your better point, because I agree with you, but they should be asking LeBron, why don't you fix your relationship with Dan Gilbert
There you go.
so this team could be better? Let it go. The letter and all the people gassing you up that, oh, Dan Gilbert's the worst person in the world and you keeping it real by hating Dan Gilbert. Why not do what's best for winning?
But, Jason, how is LeBron's fixing his relationship with Dan Gilbert going to help what they are on the court?
Because I think if LeBron and Dan Gilbert were working together like they should be, they would make a trade. They would make a move and fix the roster. Because if they were working together, if LeBron could let it go, Dan Gilbert has proven he had the highest paid roster in the NBA.
He did the luxury tax.
Luxury tax and the whole deal. Get on the same page with your ownership. Let that letter and your previous exit go. Do what's best for winning. We just saw Tom Brady's video, I'll give up my life to win. Put aside your petty differences, because I'll just say this. I know a lot of people close to Dan Gilbert. This whole narrative that somehow Dan Gilbert got a problem with black people, I got too many friends in Detroit that just say that just isn't true.
Can I defend Kevin Love, though? Kevin Love's become Chris Bosh. I believe Chris Bosh is one of the,
He's going to be a Hall of Famer.
Yeah, one of the guiding lights in the league.
Everybody, you might be a Hall of Famer.
But I mean, Bosh, in terms of community support, human being, Bosh is gold standard. By the end with LeBron, we were like, Bosh doesn't like his role.
They're scapegoats.
Well, it was
That's
16 points and 6 rebounds a game.
Both Kevin Love and Bosh had to change their games with LeBron.
Yes.
Same guy. And we're doing the same thing to Kevin Love, which we did to Bosh. Yeah. Well, I mean, he doesn't understand that you've got Kevin Love was an all-star averaging 26 a night. Bosh was an all-star.
LeBron told Kevin Love, go stand in the corner and shoot threes and get some rebounds for me. Kevin Love's like, I've done everything you guys have asked.
2 years ago, they were demanding to trade Kevin Love, and he had 15 rebounds in Game 7.
He defended Steph Curry.
I was going to say, that's what it sounds like.
Yes.
You've turned.
Close.
Let's move on. Well, LeBron might not have had much to say about Kevin Love, but he did have a lot to say about himself posted a long message from a younger LeBron on Instagram congratulating himself on joining the 30,000-point club, which he's 7 points away from reaching tonight. An imaginary teenage LeBron wrote, and this is a lot, but I want to read it all because this blows my mind. Want to be one of the first to congratulate you on this accomplishment/achievement tonight that you'll reach. Only a handful has reached, seen it too. And while I know it's never been a goal of yours from the beginning, please try to take a moment for yourself on how you've done it. The house you're about to be a part of has only 6 seats in it as of now, but one more will be added, and you should be very proud and honored to be invited inside. There's so many people to thank who has helped this even become possible, so thank them all. And when you finally get your moment alone to yourself, smile. Look up to the higher skies and say thank you so. With that said, congrats again, young king. Cowherd, you have an issue with this post?
I have a greater issue with the basketball culture. Football's about the system. Basketball's about worship. You wear another man's shoes. This is what basketball culture has created.
LeBron worships himself.
Michael Jordan worships himself. His Hall of Fame speech called out his...
just bring Michael Jordan.
Kobe Bryant worships himself. This is
They never did this, Colin.
Here, basketball is a lot like this. I mean,
post-career. This man's in the middle of his career writing a letter to himself. Michael Jordan and Kobe didn't do this.
Michael Jordan. Can you imagine Brady punching a teammate? This is basketball culture.
Yes, I can imagine Brady punching a teammate.
This is the basketball culture that's been created in the last 30 years. Where it's
basketball. It's a LeBron culture. Who? The chosen one is tattooed on his back, and you don't think this is delusion? You don't think this is someone?
That's not. Well, look, I would not do that. Okay, but I don't think this came out of a place of narcissism. And here's what I'm gonna say.
Where else is there?
LeBron James. Look at his history. He is a sensitive. Thoughtful guy that feels very fortunate and blessed to have gotten from what he came from. And his upbringing was one of the roughest in the NBA, okay?
No,
it was.
Completely disagree.
No, his mother was 16 when she had him. Never met his dad. Moved around from place to place every few months. Missed 170 days of school as a fourth grade. Pretty rough, okay? Now, look at LeBron James. He wrote a letter a few years ago to his dad, who he never met, about how he's thanking him for the fuel, how he fueled him. It wasn't coming out of a place of anger. It was like a release, okay? LeBron does this. He thanked the Cosby Show on Instagram for providing an example for him and other black kids that grew up like. My point is just that he is a guy that's not afraid to be vulnerable. And again, I would not do that. Most people wouldn't do something like that. But to me, that's where it comes from. Just, this is a thoughtful guy. He's sensitive. And beyond anything, he feels fortunate to be where he is.
I like his take a lot on it.
It's a good take.
I mean, you know, I'm just saying.
It's defensible, but it's not.
Yeah, it's not the worst take in the world.
Yeah,
we'll go there.
I like
Chris, it's very millennial of him to do this, right? We see guys go on the Players Tribune all the time. Here's a letter to my younger self. Maybe they didn't offer LeBron that option. However, when I see all that's swirling around in Cleveland right now, I just thought the timing of this was just a little bit curious, okay? You come out of a players meeting and everybody's drilling Kevin Love. LeBron could have saved this for after the game, right? When everybody's celebrating after the game. Why fire this off in the morning? It almost feels like, hey, guys, don't worry about what's going on. I'm about to score 30,000 points. Let's celebrate that. Let's not tear our team down. Let's kind of build me up. Thought it was a little selfish on his part.
That's a good point. I mean, I'll give you some of that, and that could speak to get the attention off of the team failures and just look at my individual achievements, because I'm not going to win no more championships than Michael Jordan.
And again, I think your argument is defensible, and I hope there's some truth to it. I hope there, but to me, this is the most narcissistic, arrogant thing I've seen any celebrity, any athlete do. He's about to be celebrated by all of us. But let me beat y'all to it and let me celebrate myself. Because he was going to score 30,000. We were all going to talk about it. They were going to stop the game and do. Who does this? Well, before you all celebrate me, let me lay back and let me pleasure myself and you all enjoy it.
Let me say this. When he did the decision, everybody crushed him for the decision.
Yeah.
He gave $1 million to a Boys and Girls Club. And now we look at the decision and we're like, yeah, it's kind of what everybody does. High school football players hold pressers.
They were doing that before.
They were doing it before him. Yeah.
LeBron does it, and it's like, whoa. LeBron's the best basketball player in the world, holds a presser, gives $1 million to kids and says, I'm going to take my talents to Miami. A high school football player is like, I got 9 schools, I'll hold them hostage. They're sitting there waiting by the phone, the coaches, to get the recruiting class. This is, you know why we hate this? Because it's LeBron.
No, Kyle, I mean, let me walk you through it. Cleveland, the Cavaliers, his hometown team, where he had been playing, where he had promised he was going to win championships and all that.
Yeah.
You don't even meet with the ownership or anybody to tell him beforehand. You just, the team you had a relationship with. These high school kids, they have no relationship. They haven't been playing at Duke or playing at
But they're
North
arrogant,
Carolina.
don't you think?
Yes, but not to this degree. Again, people. I like LeBron, but somebody in his camp has to tap him on the shoulder sometimes. Hey, man, snap out of it. Come back to reality.
When he's passive-aggressive, we kill him. And now here he is being vulnerable.
And thoughtful.
Yeah, look, I do think there's some truth to that.
Where's the win here, Chris? Where is the win in this?
Look, like I said, I wouldn't do it.
Okay.
I mean, it's just not something most people would do. I'm just saying I think it comes out of a place. How many people would write a letter to their dad? I know that's a part of the grieving process that you've never met, but put it out publicly. How many athletes will make themselves that vulnerable when you're supposed to be big and strong and, you know, nothing can harm you? I'm just saying he's shown vulnerability at times, and I think that's what this is.
Also, Steph Curry as a star in the NBA got a lot of criticism for saying, yeah, I want to play with Durant. And people are like, whoa, dude, no, alpha male. This is the way younger players think. They write letters to themselves. They don't have to take 30 shots. Steph Curry, basically, Michael Jordan, everybody crushed Steph Curry. And Steph's like,
I'm done.
Why wouldn't I want to play with other players?
I'm done.
I love this.
Coming up.
We convinced you.
I want to congratulate myself on another good show today.
And that's the problem. Big East College Hoops tips off tonight with a doubleheader on FS1. First, Providence battles #1 Villanova at 6 Eastern. Then Creighton takes on St. John's at 8:30. A Big East doubleheader on FS1. Or stream all the action live on Fox Sports Go.
Welcome back, Chris Broussard, Jason McIntyre. Let's move to Milwaukee, where the Bucks fired coach Jason Kidd yesterday, reportedly over the objections of the team's biggest star, the Greek Freak, who offered to try and save Kidd's job. Milwaukee has a roster full of young stars, but the team has fallen well short of expectations this season, especially on defense. Whitlock, are the Bucks better off without Jason Kidd?
I hate to say it, but probably. This reminds me, and I think Mark Jackson deserves another shot to be a head coach, but this reminds me of Golden State. There was a point where Mark Jackson took Golden State. Ownership realized, or in their opinion, came to the conclusion he couldn't take him any farther. They went to Steve Kerr, team blossom. You look at Milwaukee, they got a bunch of young stars. Jason Kidd had some really unorthodox strategies and things. He had kind of lost the team and the fan base. They get the right coach in there. There's a lot of young talent. That's got to be a great coveted job.
I think Brad Stevens got him fired. I think people look at Boston and go, they lost 4 of their top 6 starters. Their second best player in the first quarter. They're 5 games better than last year. They lost Jay Crowder and Avery Bradley, their 2 best defenders. They inherit Kyrie Irving, who plays less defense than you and me, and they're better defensively. I think Brad Stevens is doing what Nick Saban does, is the GMs start looking at Boston and go, how come they're better? They're better on defense, lost defensive players. They lost all their scores. And I think Jason Kidd, you look at that roster and you're like, Chris Middleton, the Greek Freak, they had the Rookie of the Year, Eric Bledsoe, and you're like, Boston would win 20 more games than this.
Well, look, Brad Stevens obviously has done a great job. I don't think Kidd deserved to be fired. I mean, you mentioned their young talent. Giannis Antetokounmpo, Jabari Parker, and Chris Middleton, their 3 best players, have not been on the floor together in 2 years. All right? The last 2 years, those guys have not been on the floor together. They've been injured. Jabari Parker, who there were reports that they're not talking, Jabari Parker has to go out there and prove he can play for whoever's coaching the team. At this point, as injury-prone as he's been, he missed, but he still missed 30 games last year. You know, Chris Middleton only played 29 games, whatever the math is. So I think Kidd, look, he wasn't lighting the world on fire. I thought he did a good job in Brooklyn. You know, Cupgate notwithstanding. But otherwise, I thought he did a good job, and I thought it was premature.
The way I look at this, a mid-market team like Milwaukee has to bend over backwards for its stars. You're going to lose them, right? Now you got Giannis tight with Jason Kidd, and you run off Jason Kidd? This better work out. You talk about finding a Steve Kerr. If they don't, Giannis is going to be going to the front office here in a couple years, maybe sooner than that.
Steph Curry didn't want Mark Jackson fired.
Yeah.
And they got him locked up for the next 3 years.
Well, yes, but
Steph
Jimmy
Curry
Butler was also
want.
locked up in Chicago for several years. They start rebuilding. Kyrie Irving asked for his way out. I'm just saying, you got to cater to Giannis in Milwaukee. He could be.
Steph Curry didn't want Mark Jackson fired.
I totally agree. They got lucky.
It depends on who comes in.
That's the big question. Are you going to get Jeff Van Gundy? Are you going to get somebody out of the booth who's very well respected? Are you going to land somebody in Milwaukee?
I don't know. With all that young talent, I think there's a coach out there that thinks, damn.
That's
David Fizdale.
Yeah.
He's a good coach.
There's some coaches out there, and again, we won't get into this today because I'm about to throw a curveball. But again, the black coaching situation in the NBA, at some point, we have to discuss.